Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect. And just another video on, in the news. Today I have a article coming from Security Week, which this article basically is coming from a actual PDF file. Let me see if I have that pulled up real quick. Yeah, so this is a PDF file coming, which was put out November 13th, 2024. Management Implication Report: Cybersecurity Concerns Related to Drinking Water Systems. So I'm just going to read here the purpose, and this is coming from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. So this is an official document and as it says here, the purpose: the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency Office of Inspector General has identified cybersecurity concerns at drinking water systems. Additionally, the OIG has identified weaknesses with reporting and coordinating responses to potential cybersecurity incidences at these water systems. Drinking water systems are critical infrastructure. As such, identifying and addressing cybersecurity concerns within these systems and reporting and coordinating responses to potential cybersecurity incidences is critical to preventing related disruptions, corruptions, and dysfunctions, and to protecting public health. We conducted this investigation in accordance with the quality standards of investigations published in November 2011 by the Council of the Inspectors General on Integrity and Efficiency. Those standards require that we conduct investigations in a timely, efficient, thorough, and objective manner. So, long story short, this department, right, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency department, they basically have identified certain water systems, drinking water systems, that is vulnerable to cyber attacks. Now, I did a video a couple of weeks ago, and brothers have done videos on it as well, about how the water system, I forgot exactly what it's called, American water systems or whatever, they basically had a cyber attack done unto them earlier, either last month or 2 months ago. And although they were saying that the actual drinking water wasn't affected, but they were saying that the billing systems got affected, and they also stated that they don't know how deep the cyber attack went. So there could be a Trojan horse in there. There could be some type of malware that this attack basically caused, that could potentially cause a issue later on down the line. And now you have this article coming out, which I'll read it. 300 drinking water systems in U.S. exposed to disruptive, damaging hacker attacks. The EPA flagged security vulnerabilities in more than 300 drinking water systems that serve roughly 110 million individuals, which is about a third of the population in America, right? 300 drinking water systems have been exposed to disruptive, damaging hacker attacks, which could affect up to 110 million individuals. So, we're clearly in times of, impending chaos, right? Mentioned it yesterday, poly crisis. And the thing about, water, that's very detrimental. That's water is literally, according to the body, rather, it's a matter of life and death if you don't have water, right? That's an essential, right? As they say that this system is a critical infrastructure. So the fact that you have 110 million people that could potentially be affected by this goes to show you how frail and just how the Lord is having these plagues, all coming together for the destruction of Babylon the Great. Because remember, the Lord said that this is the Lord's vengeance. Okay? Because Babylon the Great, America, the mindset, the people have been proud against the Lord. All right? And the Lord has withheld his wrath. He's been long suffering long enough, but now is the time of judgment. See? And that judgment is going to come in various different ways. All right? Famines, pestilences, the sword, actually. Scriptures talks about it. Let's pull it up real quick. And we always go into this into these scriptures, you know, because this is the time, right? This is the time that we're in. So if we know what time we're in, and we know the prophecies, then this is what we're supposed to be focusing on. Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 5. It says, "Behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction." See? So these are the plagues of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai that he is bringing upon this world, particularly, when the Lord brings these plagues, it's going to hit particularly hard in Babylon the Great. Although the Lord is visiting the earth, which he made, the visitation that he's going to have upon America is going to be unmatched. Okay? It's going to be unlike any other judgment that has ever been in history. So let's read it. It says, a passive assessment of security defects. And this article came out, I believe, today. Yep. Or yesterday, rather. November 18th. A passive assessment of security defects in 1,062 drinking water systems that serve over 193 million individuals have revealed that a quarter of them could potentially fall victim to attacks leading to functionality loss, denial of service conditions, and customer information compromise. Now, the DOS is, interesting because a lot of these cyber attacks that have hit various different telecommunication companies like the AT&T or the T-Mobile or the Verizon, those were DOS attacks, right? Denial of service. Now, it's one thing for you to not be able to use your phone, right? You have denial of service of your phone. And you already seen how people were, acting during that. When that happened for a few hours, how people were just getting antsy, being in the state of slight panic. Won't say too crazy of a panic, but just a slight panic because they weren't able to use their telephones, which your phone isn't. I mean, it could be, depending on the situation, it could be a critical service, but for more or less your phone, the telephone isn't a critical service that you need. Now, if you're in a position of impending death and you got somebody trying to rob you, or somebody trying to you need some type of assistance, emergency assistance, and your phone don't work, then yeah, that could be a potential critical spot that you're in. But for the most part, the phone itself isn't a critical system or a critical service, but your water is. Okay. No matter what situation you're in, water is always critical, right? So this is saying that out of 193 million individuals, a quarter of them could potentially fall victim to attacks leading to functionality loss, denial of service conditions, and customer information compromise, right? The assessment covered 5 cybersecurity categories, namely email security, IT hygiene, vulnerabilities, adversarial threats, and malicious activities, and rated the identified weaknesses with critical to low scores based on their potential impact. As of October 2024, 97 of the assessed water systems, which serve approximately 27 million individuals, contain critical and high severity issues. the OIG report shows, right? And that's the report I just, brought up. An additional 211 drinking water systems covering roughly 83 million people were found to be impacted by medium and low severity weaknesses by having externally visible open portals. If malicious actors exploited the cybersecurity vulnerabilities we identified in our passive assessment, they could disrupt service or cause irreparable physical damage to drinking water infrastructure. You see? Now, mind you, you had a couple, I want to say it was about 2 years ago, right? Might have been 2 years ago, or might have been earlier last year, but you had one of these, experts, come on. I want to say it was might have been either at the WEF or one of those, think tanker gatherings where a guy said, or might have been in Congress, I can't remember exactly, but he basically said that they have a belief over 80 to 90% chance that within the next 2 years there was going to be a cyber attack on a critical infrastructure. Earlier last year, you had the director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, said that China has burrowed into numerous critical infrastructures here in America, right? China also was the ones who they found out attacked, did the cyber attack on the telecommunication companies like AT&T and Verizon. Now, Trump is supposed to be coming into office, right? Well, which remains to be seen, but he's talking about putting 100% tariffs on all of or majority of China's imports, right? The things that they are exports rather. And that right there is going to start an economic war. Now, if you are going to go go into economic war against China, how do you think they're going to respond to that? If they already have the ability, right, through these backhand, hacker groups to hack into critical infrastructure here in America, then now you're also talking about putting tariffs on their exports, which is going to be, detrimental to the Chinese government and Chinese economy. They're clearly going to want to respond some way, shape, or form. So you being in a position that you speaking about America, Babylon the Great, being in the position that they're in, right? Being exposed to these so-called Chinese hacker groups, and then trying to economically cripple them, this could spell a great disaster for America, which, once again, all these things are written, okay? And whether or not, if it is an outside adverse, country, government doing this, or if it's the government, Babylon the Great's government and the deep state doing it themselves because they want to, bring a type of chaos to Babylon. All in all, right, it's all going to serve the same purpose. And the fact that the FBI is even saying over a year ago, or about to be a year ago, that they have identified, Chinese hackers into their critical infrastructure. Well, what have you done about it within this last year? Why are you continuously saying that, bringing out these warnings of some type of impending cyber attack? Instead of giving these warnings, why aren't you putting any things in place to try to prevent it, right? And that's, ultimately, like I said, is because this is something that they could use, as the old saying goes of the elites, never let a good crisis go to waste. This can be something that they use in order to completely, pull out the rug, right? Collapse this system, cause some type of black swan event, have the chaos ensue, have the people, in an unstable state of mind, and then they can bring a solution that would just bring more power unto them, take more power away from the citizens, and then bring that ultimate a new system in place, which would be tied to, biometric identity, right? Remember, all roads lead to the MOTB, okay? And the MOTB is going to be a system that is going to be put in place as being looked at for a saving, right? Saving society, upgrading society, making things better. Matter of fact, speaking about that, I believe Trump just made a pro-Bitcoin individual, I forgot his name, but he made him, or he's nominating him for the head of the Department of Commerce. So Trump has been aligning himself with a lot of cryptocurrency individuals in his cabinet, which once again is all leading unto that digital system. But going in, back into this article, because this right here is going to have real effects on millions of people, right? You don't have your drinking water being affected. That's going to cause people to panic buy, not just panic buy, they're going to be panic ransacking, right? Because water is essential, right? It's not something that is a privilege, not a privilege. It's not something that is, I don't need it, but it's good to have. Nah, it's I need it. It's a necessity. And if your drinking water is compromised, you're not going to just say, okay, well, I'm not drinking water. No, you're going to try to find ways to find water that is drinkable. And the easiest way for people, or the most quickest way that people are going to be trying to do that, is by running up in these stores. And when the stores get empty, they're going to do what? Run up in people's houses. As it says back in 2nd Esdras 15 verse 19. I start at 18. It says, for because of their pride. Remember, I quoted earlier, the Lord said what? Babylon has been proud against the Lord, right? And proud in wickedness. So because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled. If your city doesn't have drinking water, your whole city, that's the thing that can trouble your whole city, right? If your city, because that's not something that just only affects one individual. That affects everybody in this state, in this city, in this town. And they're talking about 110 million people. That's a third of the nation. So cities shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods, right? Spoil their goods. What is the main goods that they're going to be looking for? The essentials, right? They're not going to be out here trying to spoil people's houses, run up in people's houses for a PlayStation 5, man, right? When your city is troubled, when something like this takes effect, and your drinking water is now affected, and let's say, for instance, the drinking water, does get affected, but you still have the ability to turn on your faucet. Let's say they don't just stop turning it on, but let's say now, because the irrigation system, right, the whole computer system is broken down, now the actual water is damaged in a sense that it's not it's contaminated. That's what I'm looking for. The water is contaminated, right? Your water being contaminated, now could you still want to drink water, but you're drinking contaminated water, which the scriptures talks about the wormwood, right? And that word wormwood basically meaning the water turned bitter, meaning it's contaminated. So you're drinking contaminated water, and now you're getting sick, right? You may there's a bunch of different parasites in it. People throwing up. Now the hospitals are being overrun. Something like this can cripple a nation, right, in an instant, man. Okay? But once again, most people, this is not, I didn't even see this on the mainstream media, because the mainstream media is not trying to get people to be aware of the times. This is why the Lord got the prophets out, the watchmen, and it's ultimately only for the elect, the ones that hear the words, as the Lord said, my sheep hears my voice, right? A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. In most Babylonians here are simpletons, man. They're completely docile in a very low vibration state of mind. It says the assessment, including mapping the digital footprint for each of the investigated systems, covering the infrastructure used for collecting, pumping, treating, storing, and distributing the water, and involved the analysis of more than 75,000 IPs and 14,400 domains. Okay, let's jump around. It says the report comes roughly 1 month after, and this is what I was talking about, the New Jersey-based American Water, which serves more than 14 million people in 14 states and on 18 military installations, fell victim to a cyber attack that forced it to shut down certain systems. The water was not affected. See that? So you had that take place, but now this is saying about 300 drinking water systems are exposed. That's just one, right? The American Water, New Jersey-based company is just one drinking water system, which serves up to 14 million people. They're saying it's 300 that is potential, has vulnerabilities to being attacked. It says in May, the EPA warned that over 70% of the systems did not comply with the Safe Drinking Water Act, underlining critical severity issues such as the use of default passwords and easily hackable authentication systems. Okay? And this is just another article basically backing that one up. Critical cyber vulnerabilities found in many water utilities, warned EPA Inspector General. So it's the same thing. Okay, but there was a particular paragraph that I wanted to touch on. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's the last one. Last two. It says the memo concludes with a key challenge: the absence of a cybersecurity reporting structure within the EPA. Instead of agencies relies on getting information from the CISA and its contacts with water utilities and other federal agencies. The Government Accountability Office last August recommended the EPA develop a national cybersecurity strategy that would include an assessment on whether it needs more authority to protect the nation's water from bad actors online. It says, despite the potential huge economic cost of a disruption to the nation's water infrastructure, Moore estimated that a T attack on water utilities would, more than anything, exact a psychological cost on the public. He said that though he thinks a successful attack on water infrastructure is unlikely to occur, the September 11 attack provides historical examples of widespread behavioral change, such as declines in airline travel, that shouldn't be discounted. The loss of water bill, Moore said, that's nothing, right? And basically saying what? That if something like this takes place, even if it was for a day, right? Even if the water went down for a day for a third of the nation, that psychological effect would be long lasting, because now people would be in this position of knowing how easily they are touched, how easily shit can hit the fan, how easily they can just go from peace and safety to sudden destruction. And that's just for one day. Now imagine if this was for a week. Okay, and this is why the scripture says in Isaiah the 33rd chapter that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding shall be the stability of our times. I'll pull it up, okay? Because we understand that these things are going to take place. It's just a matter of when the Lord is going to have them strike, when the Lord is going to send these plagues. Isaiah 33 verse 6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and the strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh is his treasure. Because in these times that we're coming in, it's the fear of the Lord. It's the ones that fear the Lord that are going to have that wisdom to know what is going on, right? And through that wisdom, right, being able to maintain a stable mind. And then ultimately, because we kept the word of the Most High's patience, Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai's patience, he's going to keep us. He's going to deliver us. He's going to provide for us in these times. And this is why we're given diligence to make our call in an election sure. Because when shit hits the fan, where are you going to run to? When something like this takes place, how are you going to survive? How are you going to endure it? All right? Americans are used to everything being handed to them in a silver platter, right? Spoon-fed things. So when shit like this takes place, people are going to lose their minds. And that's why he said the psychological effect. People are going to go, they're going to bug out, as we say. You know, so I pretty much want to end it there. I just wanted to bring this out. Lord willing, it's edifying to the elect. Until next time, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rakakodash. Shalom.